Okay. Netivot Shalom on the Parsha Veyshlach, Bereshit, page Resh Lamed Daled. So, בשלוש לשונות של חיבה, right? Three different types of affection or favorating, kindness. In the Midrash Bereshit Rabbah, yeah. Rish Lakish Amar, in three לשונות של חיבה, three type of, not languages, but like different words, right? Of חיבה, חיבב הקדוש ברוך הוא את ישראל. Hashem is like having affection to us in three different types of בדבקה, בחשקה ובחפצה. Right? There are three different things. And we learned before that in Hebrew there are no synonyms. So each one has its own purpose, its own meaning. Although you can say affection, but it's three types of affection. Affection, desires, wanting, cleaving, right? It said, בדבקה, חשקה וחפצה. בדבקה, ואתם הדבקים בהשם אלוקיכם, right? We say this פסוקים, right? ואתם הדבקים בהשם אלוקיכם, חיים כולכם היום, right? So that's one part. Also, לא מרובכם מכל העמים חשק השם בכם, right? Hashem didn't like us or choose us because we are the majority from all the means, so it's חשק. And the third one, כי תהיו אתם ארץ חפץ. You will be a land of a חפץ. חפץ, it's like, you can explain it in Hebrew like an object. Chefetz is something like, it's an object, but it's something that you desire, you want. So that's why it's a chefetz from the word lachfotz, wanting, right? So in our parsha, Shechem, right, it says, this is what he did, right? And we are learning it. We're learning it from this parsha, of that wicked person, right? Bedveika. Why? Because it says, ותדבק נפשו בדינה בת יעקב, right? Shechem. And also in Hashika, right? The father said, Shechem bini חשקה נפשו בביתכם. And the third option, or the type of that, it says בחפצה. ולא איחר הנער לעשות הדבר, כי חפץ בבת יעקב. Right? We can see here, so we can explain it, I think, more or less as a little bit difficult. Dveika, it's to cleave, cleaving to Hashem. Hasheka, it's more of a desire, lust, L-U-S-T. And chafetza is something that you really want, right? You really want. So we learn from this parsha, right, that Harvey, if you can mute. No, okay, I muted you, and I'm going to mute Mordechai, and I'm going to mute you because there are background noises. Okay. So we learn from this parsha that these three types of words, right, they're all coming to teach about affection, cleaving, wanting, desiring. And he said, and it's like, it's a question, it's a wonder. Why we need to learn from that part of the parsha, from that wicked person, about the holiest thing for us, because Hashem, right? We said that three times, we just learned the three psukim, that Hashem really like us, right? Why we shouldn't, like the Torah giving us like an example, something that is related to Kodesh. Why for what happened over there with that man and Dinah, we're going to learn that. He says, and it's, the main thing itself needs to be explained. Why also the Torah wrote, right, the Torah הקדושה, את כל הלשונות של דבקה, חשיקה וחפצה. Why? עוד יש לדייק, we also need to be precise in these פסוקים, שבכולם נזכר רצונו בבת יעקב, because all of these פסוקים indicating or showing us that he wants the daughter of יעקב. ותדבק נפשו בדינה בת יעקב, שכם בני חשקה נפשו בביתכם, ולא אחר הנער לעשות, right? So he did the brit milah, he didn't wait, right? Because he wants the woman. Right? כי חפץ בית יעקב. מה הקשר היה? So what is the connection? How is it related? לחפצו בדינה, for his desire or wanting דינה, with Yaakov and the tribes. שהיה לו לומר, he should actually say, ותדבק נפשו בדינה. So, לדבוק is to cleave, right? Cleaving to Hashem, cleaving. And how is it related, the lust or the desire of the Tuma to the Gedusha of the daughter of Yaakov? How is it working together? And we should say, according to Mandaita Ma'ari Kadosh Belekutei Torah. So he said over there that Shechem was like not the soul, it was not a reincarnation of the Adam Arishon, but it was a spark from his soul, a spark, right? What does it exactly mean? I don't know, but spark is something tiny little. In Makom Acher, in other place in the Lekutei Torah, he says that Shechem itself, he was not only a spark from the first man, but he was also the soul of Rabbi Hanina ben Tardion. And bring it from the hint, from the pasuk, Va'eretz ine rachavat yadayim, right? Later on, they told him, you know, you will be with us together. We're going to marry your daughter. You're going to marry our daughter, right? And you can stay in the land. It's very wide. So rachavat yadayim, it's Rashi Tevot, it's acronym Rabbi Hanania ben Tardion. As a side note, it's we as Jews, we have so much history, right? And Rabbi Hanania ben Tardion was one of the 10 Aseret Harugei Malchut. He was like a Tana Kadosh from the time of the rebellion of Bar Kokhba. And he was one of the 10 martyrs, and the Roman put, cotton on his chest with water, so they burned him, so he will not die quickly, but he will suffer because he didn't want to teach Torah in hiding, like I'm doing now. I'm now in Israel in a bunker. It's an armed room, right? So Rabbi Hanania ben Tardion didn't want to teach Torah in hiding. He did it in Pharesia in public, and the Roman caught him, of course, and they murdered him. So I don't know exactly what's the connection, why specifically him, but this is what the Ari says. And also he said, V'chenita, the Shechem, the word Shechem, it's also acronym Shem Kvod Malchuto. Okay, which says, it says that the root of the soul of Shechem was in a very high place in heaven. And according to that, we need to understand the entire parasha of Shechem and Dinah. He says, we bring from the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, Zechuto Gen Alenu, שבאמת, he said, truly, nothing bad coming from heaven. Because from heaven, only good thing going down. We may see it or understand it, that it's good, it's not good for us, etc., but it's not. To our eyes, maybe, but from heaven, only good going down. And when that midah of in a person is waking up, the midah of love, right? It says midat ahava ra'a. So Hashem gave us love, to love. But when we see that somebody is waking, that the type of that midah, but it's a false love, it's a bad one, then truly he said it's for good. They gave him that present from heaven, that level of love, or the midah of love, in order to put that into a Gedusha, to love Hashem, to love the Torah, to love Israel, right? However, when that midah came down from heaven, from one place to another, whatever, the custom took some, and the custom in the other destination took some, right? And the IRS took some. So when it says the ishtalshelut, when it was going down, that level of love actually went to the Tuma, not to the Kedusha. And it became like a false love. However, the root of that love is from heaven. It's from a good place. And this is what was happening with Shechem itself. The Shoresh HaChiba, the affection that he had, waked up from heaven. And it was, the root of it was attached to the Kedusha. And from that spark of the Neshama, right? Because we said previously that he had the spark of Adam Arishon, right? The spark of the Adam Arishon. Then this is what happened when the love was waking up, because of the spark of the soul, right? מחמת שהיו צריכים להוריד לעולם את הנשמות הקדושות האלו מדינה. And he said, we needed actually to bring these holy souls from Dinah. But he brings that down to the Tuma. וזה עניין לשונות הפסוקים. ותדבק נפשו. That's why the Torah is using, and him was using these three type of affection, desire, lust, right? And wanting, in Dinah, the daughter of Yaakov. So Shechem beni chashka nafsho bebitchem, right? V'ki chafetz bebat Yaakov. To teach us, to show us, right, that the shoresh hatshuka, the root of the desire was actually from the source of the Kedusha. This is how it started, to the daughter of Yaakov. And therefore, we learn from this parsha about that wicked person, because after all, he did something what shouldn't do. That's why it was the three leshonot, the three different type of word of affection, desire, cleaving, right? That was in the good root from heaven. And it was influencing the affection of the Gedusha from the strength or from the spark of Adam Arishon that Shechem has. And from that, we're actually learning about the affection that Hashem has to us. And also in the three different types. And we find here that these three types of affection, the meaning is that there are levels, right? We learn that always we have levels, and many times the levels are three, right? So he said one above the other one. And explained that in the Bereshit Chokhmah, that these three types of affection are against, or they're actually through the three parts that we have. It's called Naran, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, right? We have 5 parts. The 2 ones we're not going to talk, but the 3 ones are the Nefesh, the lower parts, right? That is the one that gives us the vitality, that animals have the same thing, that was keep us alive, right? So he said, Ki dveika hi banefesh. To cleave, it's in the nefesh. And that level of dveika, dveikut, sometimes is davuk, sometimes it doesn't, right? It's not something permanent. It's a temporary one. It depends on many types, right? When we are satisfied, when we're not hungry, then we can cleave to Hashem. But when hungry, we don't think too much, we daven quickly, we don't learn because we want to eat, whatever. That's like the most lower level. Above that, we have the darga of chashika. Chashika, it's more of a desire, but again, that's supposed to be on a positive thing, right? Which is in the ruach. It's like, I think we can say ruach, it's the spirit. Kmo, right? We bring the pasuk, v'hashukeem kesef, shu'inyan chashika. She'idvekut yoter tadira. This is something that is more frequent. אבל עדיין אין זאת דבקות תמידית ממש. I can say, like an analogy of a mashal, that the cheshek is actually in the heart, right, where the desires are. So we do have type of desires that will never stop, right? We need to have the desire to Hashem, but some of them are negative one, and we're always thinking about it. And above that, the highest one, the third one, like to want something. This is actually related to the neshama, to our soul. It's a desire, but again, it's a positive thing, but it's a will, right? And we know that the power of will is very strong, more than a desire. So it's the power of will. And this is like a constant one, ratzon tmidi, davuk tamid, that is cleaving all the time. That's in our sechel, in the brain. Usually the neshama is there. And that's why it was so chafetz bebat Yaakov. He didn't let go. He was willing to do many things, right, just to be with her. So he said, these 3 of leshonot that Hashem was liking us, right, favoring us, right, affection to us. These are in the nefesh, ruach, and neshama. And that's the purpose of our dveikut, to be between us and Hashem. Because when the chiba, when the affection is in the 3 places, in the nefesh, ruach, and neshama, then it's a perfection. V'advekut b'shalosh shel bechinot el, right? And to have this cleaving, to have this dveikut in the 3 things, that's the highest level. And that's the purpose of the affection and the dveikut in Hashem. And this is what we found with Shechem. And he actually achieved that level, but to the Tuma, unfortunately. So the same thing, and that's why we're learning from that. So if in that negative thing, in that Tuma, affection from the Tuma side, then of course Hashem created Mida keneged Mida, right? Ze keneged ze. Then we have the source of it in the Kedusha. And the source of the Kedusha, that's actually the affection of Hashem to us in the all 3 levels. And this is what we should drive to, right? That we'll have, because everything that coming from heaven is good. And if we have desires or love or whatever, we need to have that on the positive thing and in the nefesh, ruach, and neshama. That's why Shem wanted, the daughter of Yaakov, because if you think about it, rapists, not that I have experience, but usually rapists, they're doing it once or twice and they go, right? They don't want to marry that woman that they raped because, it's chas v'chalila, but it's crazy. It's like they treat the woman like an object or whatever. They want to torture her or whatever psychopathic desire they have. But you never heard about a rapist that actually want to be with a woman. And here you see that he was willing to do the Brit Milah, not only him, the entire Shechem, the entire city, just to be with her. So you see that it's not something normal. This is what exactly is explaining us here, that he had that type of love because he had within him the spark of Adam Arishon and the Rabbi Hanina ben Tardion soul. So he did have the potential to take that desire and affection and everything and do bring it to the Gedusha. But he felt he did it to the other way around. And this is what we need to be careful. So, Shkoyach, thank you for listening.